So, as the title suggests, I've been at my lowest weight on a raw food diet and my highest weight on a raw food diet as well. So, how did that happen? Well, before all this, I never really thought about weight that much. And when I was younger, I didn't put on a lot of weight, even as much as I ate, which I didn't really restrict what I ate. But in saying that, I never forced myself to eat more. So I guess I was always eating the right amount. But I was also very active when I was younger with sports and things. I had quite a physical job in my early 20s. And then I think when I started to do office jobs, I probably started to put on a little bit of weight. But I guess I was always conscious, and I never really never let it get too out of hand. And also I gave up sugar by that point, and caffeine and things like that. So I was I was aware of my diet, and I was already making changes that helped me to control my weight. But when I came into the raw, I realized I had weight to lose. So I think there's a thing that if you don't stay aware of your weight, you can gain weight or lose weight without really realizing it. You don't really notice it happening. So when I turned up at my first Woodstock Fruit Festival, I wasn't overweight, but I probably had a little bit of weight that I could lose, you know. So I wasn't like dramatically overweight or anything. And so in the first year of going raw, I lost quite a lot of weight, but I don't have the numbers exactly what that is. And even in like 6 months, lost quite a lot of weight. Now, I predict that, the main reason for that was going on to a fully raw lifestyle, where I was basically fruitarian when I started off, which means barely ever had any vegetables, because I just didn't like them, honestly. Because I was trying to do this diet like I'm trying to eat things as whole foods and tasting them and seeing if I like them. And I didn't like greens on their own, so I just left them. I didn't really like, well no, I did like nuts and seeds, but I thought they were too high in fat. Didn't really want to eat too many of those, so that was a rarity. Avocados I didn't eat because I couldn't digest them. I was literally get sick on them. And other kind of vegetable fruits didn't bother with, so I was doing a fruitarian diet. However, I was making massive smoothies in my memory, I was making really big smoothies, and I think I was probably hitting around 2,500 calories a day. Maybe it was a little bit less than that. And I wasn't that active either at the time. It was an office job, and I did a little bit of my Aikido, martial arts every week, but that's probably not very energy draining that. Probably played a bit of football, maybe did some running now and again, but I think there was a lot of days that I didn't hit that amount of calories, so I don't think I was always consistently, but when I started off, I was definitely making really big smoothies every day, 2 big smoothies for work as far as I remember. And I think maybe that habit, as I got used to being raw, that habit kind of probably fell away a little bit. So I was probably having days where I was more likely to undereat, and I would get to the end of the day and I didn't really feel hungry, so I wouldn't eat more. I think I did experience the symptoms of undereating a little bit. I'm not 100% sure. Things like it affected my sleep a little bit and things like that. But mostly was having a pretty good time on how I felt on the diet. And my lowest weight got down to 10, I think I was probably around 10 stone. And that's actually not even that low for my size. I think it is, but it's about 140 pounds. I was probably about somewhere in that region. I might have been a bit higher than that, 143 pounds, 145, something like that. So I'm 5'11", so it's kind of on the low end, but I still didn't have a six-pack or anything. It wasn't like I'd got rid of all of the body fat, you know. I was still, you know, but I wasn't very muscly, so I looked really skinny. And people were worried about me and things like that. You know, people get worried about you if you lose weight. But I never really tracked it that much. I liked being light, to be honest. I liked being lean. You know, I didn't really think about it that much. But I did like it. And wasn't really exercising much. So I think it was just days, you know, I had days when I wasn't overeating. And when you are eating just fruit, you almost never overeat. You basically never ever overeat. It's basically impossible if you're just eating sweet fruit. If you're eating avocados and things, maybe guacamole, then maybe you can do that. Maybe you can overeat on that. But usually it's more savoury foods that you would overeat. And as I said, it wasn't strictly against salad. I just didn't like it. It just took me a long time to learn how to make a salad I enjoyed. So fast forward to putting on my first little weekend event, which was about 2 years into doing this, and it was a thing called Fruit Camp. And Fruit Camp was, you know, kind of, I guess it was a little bit stressful because I was kind of in charge. And we had plenty of fruit, but I couldn't like just have a smoothie. I didn't have so much freedom to eat as much as I wanted or whatever. So I probably wasn't eating much that weekend. On the drive back home, stopped into service station and I saw this packet of pistachio nuts. And I was like, I've not had those in ages, why don't I just have some, you know? And I bought this packet of pistachio nuts, and on the drive home I ended up eating this entire like little tub of pistachio nuts and ate a lot of them. And over the next few days did it again and again, and then I started to get into this habit. I started to get kind of scared that I was eating so many pistachio nuts, like I was gonna like have a heart attack or something. And part of me was thinking maybe I need something in this. You know, sometimes with natural foods you get that, you kind of feel like you want it for a while and then you don't want it, and you might make believe in your own mind, oh maybe I need something. It's incredibly unlikely, unbelievably unlikely that would be the case. More likely it's just because it's a moreish addictive food because it's dried, which makes it kind of addictive. So that became my raw diet for a long time. It was fruits, and I would have pistachio nuts like quite a lot, and that became just a pattern for me for quite a long time, and put on weight slowly. So went back up to kind of maybe a more healthy weight compared to what people would like you to be, and noticed that very slowly. As I said, wasn't really tracking my weight. Started to feel like, you know, just weight kind of going on. At some point as well I started to eat salads. But those were pretty much low-fat salad for most of the time. But that was like, that felt to me like a really bad thing, like I was eating all these pistachio nuts, and then I would go off them for a while, and then I would go back to them for a while, and it was just bad for most of it. And then at some point I went through this period of, and the thing about putting on weight is if you put on weight, it'll just stay there unless you like consciously lose it, unless you consciously go into a calorie deficit and lose it. But anyway, so I went through a period where I'd seen people who were using green peas. I never used green peas or sweet corn, like frozen, because I thought they weren't really strictly raw and all this, but I saw some people use them and I thought, okay, well maybe use them now and again. Didn't really like it when I had them, didn't really feel that good. But then the idea just stuck in my mind, and I had some peas another time, and then I was away at my brother's house or something, and there was nothing there, and there was some peas, and I had some defrosted the peas and ate those, and that turned into a habit where I was eating like big bowls of peas and sweet corn, just defrosted, and fruit, so plenty of calories. But then started to add in like tahini, so I'd start to do a little bit of tahini now and again, a little bit of nut butters and things like that were creeping in. So I had this habit of this huge bowl with tahini and tomato sauce, like tahini blended with tomatoes, and then that would go in. Sometimes adding a little tomato paste to give a bit of concentration to it. And blew up doing that, added a lot of weight on. You know, tahini is definitely a big, if you want to gain weight, tahini is the way to go for sure. It's basically oil. I think it's as bad as oil, so I'm really mystified by raw fooders have it. But anyway, so from there, at some point, wasn't feeling good in that, gave that up and realised, oh my god, it's so much different, so much better to not have all that fat in the diet. Then went through a period, eventually some point after that, I fell back on cooked food. There was a point where I was like really disorganised with my food, and I was driving a lot. I was in this job where I was driving all the time, I wasn't eating enough, didn't have food all the time, was getting stressed. Eventually had some cooked food and ended up eating cooked food for like 6 months. Bread and hummus and all that stuff, vegan, and put on even more weight. So about 2.5 years ago or something, went back to raw, and by that point I was up to 14 stone, so I'd gained like 4 stone from my lowest weight, right? So from there I thought, right, I'm going back to 100% proper raw, none of this adding peas in now and again, adding nuts in now and again and all that stuff. All that, if I'm going to have it, it's a very, very small part of my calories, don't want to, you know. And so I went back to raw eventually, and stuck to it really strictly, and I thought the weight was just going to drop off really easily, and it was starting to drop off slowly, but not that fast, and sometimes it would creep back up. So then I thought, right, I'm going to go no overt fats. So I went no overt fats for ages and ages and ages, and once again I realised that I wasn't losing the weight very quickly. So but I did lose weight over time, slowly, which is good. And now I'm at a point where I just consciously thought, you know what, I'm going to just do the weight loss thing, the thing that people do when they lose weight, restrict calories by about 500 calories a day, and just lose this little bit of extra weight that I don't really want. So that's what I'm doing. And as part of that, what I'm going to do is, as part of my journey, you can share that with me if you like by joining into the raw weight loss club thing that we're going to do, online club. I think it's going to run for 12 weeks, so it'll be once a week that we'll meet up online, and there'll also be a group and all that stuff, and it'll be kind of like any kind of weight loss club where you log your weight once a week, and I'll be giving some presentations every week, a little bit of education on weight loss and things like that, and on raw food to keep you all inspired and motivated. And we will just try and keep each other accountable, share ideas, share pictures on the private. We'll have a private group, and I'll encourage you to like share pictures of your journey, share a log of what you're eating each day if you like, and that's how it's going to work. So if you're interested, there'll be a link below this video. Go and join up. I'll do a couple of webinars soon to let you know exactly what's going to be involved, and I hope you enjoy it. So click on the link below the video in the thingamie section, and I hope this will be worth it for you.